hi Zuzanna, thank you for doing this placement chat today to talk about kind of where you've been and what you've done. So if we could just kind of get straight in, can you just introduce yourself to everybody, tell us what you studied and who you did your placement with?
Yeah, so I'm Zuzanna, I'm 22 years old, and I'm in my final year of biomedical science. I'm currently doing my research project, and in my placement I went to SITraN, which is the Sheffield Institute for Translational Neuroscience that works with the University of Sheffield.
Brilliant. Okay, I've heard of them before. I think a few students have been there on placement. What is it exactly that they do, that organisation?
So they focus on research on neurodegenerative diseases such as stroke, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, so many other diseases. So it's basically mainly just research.
Yeah, sounds good. And
therapeutic strategies to try and cure those or help people with these kind of diseases to function, live an easier life.
Sounds like a really good organisation, really obviously helpful to lots of people. What was your role while you were there on placement then?
So I was a research laboratory technician.
Okay, and what did a typical day look like then? What did you kind of get involved in?
So I kind of want to describe it in like two parts. I did a lot of lab work, but I also did a lot of admin work as well.
Yeah.
So in the lab, I worked on genotyping, which involves PCR and gel electrophoresis. Those were from the mice studies. So we would kind of take the DNA from the mice and then run it through all these assays and experiments to see how infected they are with certain diseases. I also did tissue culture, and I cultured fibroblasts, human fibroblasts, and that came in with mycoplasma testing as well, which is done for the whole general institute for everyone. And I also did a lot of histological work, so staining tissue slides with brain tissue, pig tissue. So that was mainly the lab work, and then the admin work was just kind of supporting the running of the institute, so processing deliveries, troubleshooting assays, different machinery in the labs, maintaining communal stock, replying to emails, helping students and staff if they're struggling with something, and also training new staff, students, work experience people, and things like that.
Sounds like you did absolutely loads. Sounds really like varied and interesting. Yeah. And I mean, I guess that'll be really helpful for you in the future. But why did you choose SITraN? Why did you want to work for them?
So over the years in my degree, I've grown rather fond of neuroscience. I think I wasn't really sure what it is that interested me the most. And I think it wasn't until mid-second year time when I was applying for placements, that's when neuroscience really came very, very intriguing for me. So I thought, there's this amazing institute in Sheffield, and I thought, why not apply? They were posting some posts, so I just went for it, really. Just the study of the brain and the nervous system is just, I kind of see myself working in that kind of field in the future. So I thought, try and get into it now and see where it takes me.
Brilliant. Well, I want to kind of touch on that bit a bit later, but I guess thinking kind of about your placement, how did you develop, like, by doing a placement, like professionally and personally? How did you get on there?
I think definitely through shadowing supervisors, colleagues, kind of exposing myself to like loads of different opportunities and experiences, taking on more challenges, tasks, stepping out of my comfort zone, I think was the biggest thing. I struggle to do that quite a bit, and I get quite nervous or anxious about things, but the more I tried and the more mistakes I made as well was like a huge learning curve, and it made me just kind of realize where my priorities are and exceed my potential, just kind of getting what was more important in life first, and then all the other enjoyable things to the side, because they're always going to be there, but these experiences and opportunities don't come all the time. Sorry.
Yeah, That sounds really,
Yeah.
like say you've made the most of it. It sounds like you've got a lot from
Yeah.
it, and I suppose that's probably helping you now in third year as well. Some of that,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, massively, massively.
What kind of skills then did you develop on placement? These can be lab skills, or they can be like transferable skills.
Loads. I think I have a list actually. Problem solving. This involved lab skills, working on my dexterity, like really intricate things like that. IT skills, technical skills, communication, time management. Biggest one was probably autonomous working, just working
Okay.
independently,
Yeah.
being able to do things on my own and make these problem solving decisions and make my own kind of plan of working by myself without my
Yeah.
supervisors, but also the teamwork as well, since as a research technician you work in a team, so you have to communicate with each other, tell each other things, and yeah, just kind of perform all these tasks with the help, but also individually.
Yeah.
I think with placement, getting up on time as well, having like a routine every day you go in, it's like a 9 to
Yeah.
5 job almost.
Yeah.
So definitely my punctuality, my time management definitely improved, organization, things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
A lot of people say that about placement, like you say, going from like I suppose education and I suppose especially
Yeah.
university, like with the different times, and then suddenly you've got to be somewhere for like 8:30 or
Oh
9,
yeah,
and you're there every single day. So it can be
exactly.
a bit of a shock, can't it? But I guess it helped prepare
Yeah,
you for what's to come afterwards. So yeah,
definitely. It was a bit hard to adjust to it at the beginning, but then once I'm kind of like in it, I kind of
yeah,
work on like autopilot. So
yeah. You get into a
yeah,
routine. Yeah. What
exactly.
What was your biggest achievement on placement? Have you got something that you're really proud of, or?
I think definitely putting theory into practice. I think a
Hmm.
lot of what I learned in first year and second year, I didn't really understand, especially
Hmm.
because I didn't really get much time in the labs either because it was like right after COVID.
Oh,
So there
okay.
was
Yeah.
restrictions and things like that. So
Hmm.
going into placement, being able to do these kinds of experiments in person by myself, that's where kind of my skills and knowledge enhanced.
Yeah.
Um, which helped me a lot returning to final year, being able to understand things more better. One thing I like to say is that when I was learning about PCR for the first time, I hated it, and
Yeah.
now it's my favorite experiment to do because I actually
Ah.
understand the whole process of it, and it's actually
Yeah.
quite intriguing finding out what you can get from it.
Yeah. I suppose
So
you can
just
see the whole process and like really understand its
yeah,
application in the real world and whatnot. Yeah. Oh,
exactly,
very nice.
exactly.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump you back now a bit. I want to kind of think about the recruitment process and what was that like. So you
Mhm.
mentioned obviously that you wanted to go for SITraN because you were interested in it, but did you apply for
Yeah.
any others as
Um,
well? And
I did, yeah. As far as I can remember, I applied to a few. Some in the hospital. They were
Mhm.
all mainly in Sheffield because I didn't want to move out anywhere.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't wanna I wasn't thinking about going back home either, which is in
Mhm.
Nottingham. So I just kind of stuck to Sheffield, and Sheffield has loads of different places to offer.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
so what was the
I think
recruitment like with, oh, sorry, I've interrupted you.
no, it's fine.
I was going to say, what was the
Um,
recruitment like with SITraN then? What was that process like?
yeah, so you put in an application and then they obviously get back to you if they offer you an interview. So I got offered 2 interviews for different posts at SITraN.
Okay.
The first one I went to, I didn't get it.
Hmm.
But then the next one, which was the research technician, I got that one. So it's just mainly interview wise, I think.
Yeah.
And for most of them, I had to go in for it as well. So that
Okay.
was even more nerve wracking, but
Yeah.
eventually got through to it.
Face to face and stuff, yeah. How
Yeah,
did you like obviously you were rejected. How did you manage to like keep
yeah.
going then? How did you persevere through that rejection?
I just kind of took what I experienced in that interview and it helped me to prepare for the next one. So I was
Hmm.
quite lucky because it was also in SITRAN, so I thought it'd probably be very similar questions and
Yeah.
the same kind of system of recruiting. So the questions that I got asked in my first interview, I kind of jotted down as quickly as I could,
Okay, that's a good tip. Yeah.
and revised. Yeah, and then like I revised it from there. So
Yeah.
even simple questions like, tell me a bit about yourself, or
Hmm.
so what is this institute? Why are you interested in working here? and things like that, and then more focused ones on the placement itself and what they would ask me potentially.
That's a really good tip. We always say that to students, like after an interview, jot them down, and then also
Yeah,
definitely prepare for that one question that you said about tell me about a bit about yourself. It's like a really
yeah,
common question. So it's good that you said that.
yeah. I find it the hardest question, to be fair. The
You
tell me
find it a
about
what,
weights,
sorry?
the hardest question.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, like sometimes you don't know where to start or what to cover, but like I guess as
Yeah.
long as you're covering like I don't know what you've studied, what your skills are, why you want to work for that
Yeah,
company is always a good one to weave in
exactly.
as well. So obviously you did it well.
Thank you.
In terms of like thinking forward then and advice again and thinking about your future. So would you recommend doing a placement to other students and if so, why?
Definitely. I think it just helps you out so much. I think not going on placement, I would have struggled a lot in final year
Okay.
now. So with placement, with all the skills and the knowledge that I have, it just kind of set me a bit forward than everyone else. I think
Mm-hmm.
I just felt more comfortable in what I was doing. Um, just it consolidated my knowledge a lot more and improved so many of my skills that I was able to just kind of talk about more or put them into action. Um, just exposing yourself to the environment where you could potentially see yourself being in the future. I think that's
Yeah.
why wouldn't you do that really? I
Yeah.
think it's just kind of it's a given. You might as well. If it's
Yeah.
there on your plate, then grab it. Grab the opportunity.
And then I guess thinking forward on that strand, so what do you want to do after graduation? Has that kind of helped cement any ideas? You talked about like neuroscience
Yeah.
and interests and stuff.
Yeah. So I've applied for the scientist training program.
Hmm.
And I'm also applying for master degrees. So I definitely want to go into further education,
Okay.
and definitely just I think a career in research is what I'm mostly interested in. And
Yeah.
the fact that I've been in the University of Sheffield's neuroscience department, that's
Yeah.
where I want to apply. So I'm applying to uni of for the master degrees. And I think knowing the people that I do know now and them knowing me does help a lot, because then you can
Yeah.
get references from them or put in a good word kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
feel more comfortable in the labs at SITraN than I do in Hallam labs. Bit
Yeah.
biased, you know,
But I suppose
it's
you've
just
had like such a long time in them, haven't you? And like you say, you've got to
yeah,
really apply your knowledge and yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant. Sounds really good then. I think we've kind of covered everything else. So
yeah.
unless you've got anything else to add about any final words, then I guess we're done.
Um, I guess advice for people that are probably in this position where they're applying.
Yeah.
If you feel like a gut feeling that you really want to do it, definitely do it. Just ride it out, go through the obstacles, keep going, don't give up.
Yeah.
Ignore the excuses that you may tell yourself that it's too much work or you can't be bothered. Just
Yeah.
do it and then it'll pay off eventually.